Hello and welcome to Our Time. What did it take to be a modern day clown? An acrobat, a juggler and a puppet master? Well, just ask Jessica Pearce, so I will. Hello, Jessica Pearce.
Hi, Malcolm. How are you today?
I'm fine, and it's such a delight to be talking to you. We were talking on the phone about how long I've known you, and we think it's probably around about 20 years.
I think that would be about right.
We were both younger then.
Yeah, time has flown.
Hasn't it though? But you've done the most amazing things in your life, particularly with clowning and all the things I just said. How did this start? What was the interest? Where did it all begin? Were you suddenly just, I've got to be a I've got to be a performer, and I'm choosing to take this path of clowning?
Well, I don't think I chased after it. I think it came to me naturally without me even realising I would still be on this path today. But I was going down to the Adelaide East, I think it was the Central Adelaide East Markets.
Oh, Central Market.
It was down on Rundle Street.
Oh, that's the
East End Market.
Yes, the East End.
That's it.
It doesn't exist as it used to be.
It's a long time ago.
My dad used to deliver from the hills from a market garden when that was a functioning market.
Right, okay. And so I was just going through there, and then this guy said to me, I had this fake fur jumper that I had made. It was pretty wild. It was very cool.
Were you a cool kid?
It was very colourful, and I'd sewn it and I'd made it myself in home ec class.
Okay.
And the guy said, "Oh, where did you get that from?" And I said, "Oh, I made it." And he said, "Oh, can you sew?" I said, "Yes, I can sew." And then he said, "Well, would you like a job sewing juggling balls?" I was pretty confident. I said, "Yes, sure. I'd like to do that." And pretty much from then, I started to realise if I was going to work in the East End markets on the weekend, which they actually started to get me to do, I had to sell juggling equipment like balls that I'd been sewing, and they had clubs and other types of equipment, and I suddenly realised I really have to be able to use this equipment. A customer's going to ask me, you know, what do I do? So I went, that's it. So it was great to sew them. And then I went to Philippe, who is
Oh, he was wonderful, or is wonderful.
Who is from France, and he's the juggling teacher. And
he's a juggling master, I guess, isn't he?
Yes, from the Adelaide Juggling Club, which later on he passed over to me for some time. And so then I learnt juggling with him, and then all of a sudden there was about a group of us who created this group called Earth Circus, and there was about 40 of us. Yeah, it was.
That's quite a circus.
It was huge. It was huge. It was a huge community of people, and we were working together, creating shows. It was in the day where we didn't necessarily need to be paid for everything, so we would do some free stuff. And I think
it's the joyful thing of being able to exercise a skill that not everybody can do. So there's a lot of wonderment. It's a bit of wonderment in the fact you can do it in the first place.
And I remember I was one of the younger people, and that group was very expansive and had all kinds of ages of people. So I sort of was a young person, and I was just kind of in this amazing world and learning all these interesting things.
Do you know, sometimes that's the best way to learn, just by observation and asking people who are more experienced to help. It's really that simple. We've got some photos of you in different parts of your career.
Yes.
Very colourful career, I might say. So let's just have a look at what Jess actually has looked like over the years for all these amazing things she's done. Because, look at you here. Because you've always been super colourful, and we'll talk about your costume making later, but what are you doing there? It looks like you're spinning.
So I'm spinning a carpet.
Right, and you're the pink one here.
I'm the jester, and the three clowns and a letter.
I mean, it's not just juggling, it's learning to ride unicycles and all sorts of other stuff.
Yes, it's very hard.
but also very colourful. Now, obviously, you're not one of these, unless you've had a lot of children.
That was a circus workshop with stage sparks.
And that's the thing I love about you. You've been able to pass on your skill base to, well, from everybody, from children to grown adults learning to do things. You're obviously out of focus in the middle there. There's some more kids.
Yeah.
What are they doing the stick balancing?
So they're doing a routine, and that's at Marook Primary School, which is out a regional area. And I think I was a artist who got sent out to do a regional project. So the funding.
Yes, reading your resume, you've been all over the place. Literally all over the world.
And that school really loved the opportunities that they got through that program.
Now here's something, your colour and really juggling.
And that's in Mexico, when I was being a clown in a clown show.
Is that, have you played different characters with the different things you've done? Or you're the beautiful butterfly?
So Betsy the butterfly and Gringo the grasshopper.
And that's Elio, isn't it?
Yes, he's music, but I encouraged him to do stilts and get out of his comfort zone. And it is out of his comfort zone.
I'm sure. A bit more of you juggling?
Yeah, that's I think that was a circus show at Benitham Park.
Just the many, many looks that you've had over the years. How much did you have to... Oh, here's another one.
So this is... I used to do a lot of pantomime in Mexico.
Oh, this is in Mexico?
Yeah, that's in Mexico.
As I said, you've travelled a lot.
Yeah, I just thought that was a good one because it's got this great illusion. See with the arm? I'm actually on the floor.
Say that again.
Can you see the illusion where it looks like I'm leaning on the furniture?
It does. Oh, of course you're not, because you're being a mime.
But as the mime is classic, you can see the illusion has been created just from that magic of the character.
Well, the fact is that you have been all over the world performing. What motivated that? Like, did you train overseas? How did all this happen?
I think when I was a young person, I had this dream that I would like to go overseas for about 2 years.
Kangaroo Island, or?
No, overseas.
Really?
Like,
to another country?
I've only been to Kangaroo Island after I went overseas.
I love all that old joke
I'm really late with my own country.
I know, but actually when you get out and see what's happening in the rest of the world, it does change your whole view of life, doesn't it?
You want to then discover and understand your own country so that you can actually understand yourself better.
But also, people are entertained. Whilst we all get the same sort of thing, there's shades of entertainment, isn't there? I mean, it's not the same everywhere. What may be funny, say, in Italy, isn't necessarily funny in Australia.
No, and different countries and different cultures love different things. For example, in Mexico, there's this massive clown culture, and you can go to all the conferences and congresses and like do training, and like they've got costumes and makeup and shoes. It's like a dreamland. If you want to be a clown, for example.
Just recently we had 2 girls from Canada on the program, and there's a very strong clown culture in Canada as well, but different to how I would say.
They might be a bit more natural.
Yeah, well, it's just interesting because it's a university course for them to do in Canada, which is not something, we do have something similar here. In fact, our studio manager's wife actually runs a Comedy dell'arte.
Amazing.
She's a doctor of Comedy dell'arte, in fact. So it does exist within our culture, but not everybody is sort of locking into that. So how did you lock in to learn what you've learnt?
So I guess I went overseas and I started in England, and I went to Italy, and when I was in Italy, I think I met my ex-husband now, and then I was in Mexico So, and then I went to France as well. So I guess all these different places, there was opportunities to learn like clowning and to learn mime. And I did study some commedia dell'arte with Antonio Fava in Reggio Emilia.
Right.
And I clearly couldn't speak Italian, and so it was a lot of learning.
Well, yeah, but it is learning the stylisation of that, isn't it? Look, we're going to talk a lot more also about your costume design, and we'll be back in a minute to talk a little bit more with Jessica Pearce. And welcome back. Jessica Pearce is my guest in this program, and we talked at the beginning about the fact that you actually got involved in, well, first of all, juggling by making juggling balls for the market in the East End, and you fortunately brought in a photo of what they actually look like. I've never seen heart-shaped juggling balls or stars, but how did you start sewing things like this, apart from being asked to? I mean, was there a pattern they gave you to say, make them like this?
No, because I started making clothes and costumes. Well, you just make a pattern and you just make it. Oh,
okay. But I'm fascinated. If you have a really close look down in this one here, you can see there's the little, oh, hello. Oh, look, we were so careful for that not to happen, and it happened. It was the other one that fell off. I think everyone's got the idea. But you were also making all sorts of other clothing and costumes. We'll start with the hat. And flipping that around, there's the... Oh, hang on. Before we do that, and the jewellery there as well.
That's right.
And flipping that around...
So the puffer jacket, the hat...
There's quite sophisticated stuff, Miss Jess.
That's right, and reflective, like writing. So that is reflective.
And what were these for?
I think I was just making a fashion line.
Oh, okay.
And hats and jackets.
This was for?
This is costume, and
they've got a very sort of Asian look about it.
There was a headdress, like a sun goddess headdress, but you've got a mask, so I made the mask as well. So it's a paper. It's a paper mache.
Oh,
it's a paper mache, like sun mask.
And this one here.
And that was just like a mix of different clothes that I was making at the time.
The Android X collection.
Yeah, so that was the label, Android X.
And were you making these for sale?
Yes, I had both. I had things for sale. And then
from the market, were you?
No, I think I sold directly into some shops.
I mean, the interesting thing is that people who are creative in one field are often talented in another field as well. That has often got nothing to do with the other field. You know, something about creativity. Do you feel that you've been a creative person all your life?
Yes, I feel like creativity is my signature.
Right. So just going back from the beginning of your life again, so you went to the market and started making juggling equipment or balls and things that were sewn.
Yes.
How long did it take you to get from going into the market and saying, well, I really need to know a bit more about how to use the things I'm making, to actually starting to be a performer?
Okay, so I think it all went pretty fast. So I was juggling, and then I was...
Who taught you initially?
Philippe.
Oh, right,
Philippe,
from the very beginning.
Yeah, Philippe was my juggling teacher.
So you basically went to him and said, I want to learn to juggle clubs or balls or...
And he was the one down the track, obviously, when I had juggled enough time, he was the one who taught me 5 balls, for example.
Yep.
So...
Difficult. That's the coordination of that. What goes on in your head when you've got usually 3 in the air while you're catching 2 and about to deliver
I mean,
them?
3's so easy for me now, but 5 is focus. just focus.
Yes, because I've always watched jugglers with fascination, because I've worked with a lot in my life, but because they're looking up there, but they're catching down there. They're not seeing where the balls are.
You're actually looking at your whole
It's like a peripheral vision thing.
Yeah, you're not just looking at one, you're looking at the whole box.
At the same time.
Yep, and when you do
You've only got two eyes though.
When you do 5 balls for a long time, later on you go, oh, my neck hurts.
But you've done so much more, because the physical things that you've done acrobatically have been quite extraordinary. I mean, I can say that, you can't, but we can say I'm extraordinary.
Yeah, and now, for example, I don't do acro at all anymore.
And why would that be, Jessica Pearce?
But clearly I had my time and loved training and loved
the sad thing,
performing.
Isn't it? Yeah, but you learn all of these skills and then your body just says, oh, it's a bit too hard
It gets a bit hard, or I actually
have to warm up a lot longer.
It's probably also due when I had my son. I obviously stopped training and I stopped doing acro, because all of a sudden you're pregnant and you shouldn't be doing handstands anymore. So there were these things that just slowly changed because my lifestyle changed.
But as your lifestyle changes, you pick up other things and do other things. Is that how puppetry came into your life?
No, puppetry came because I think it's about 1.5 years ago, I broke my right foot. And so all of a sudden I couldn't even walk, let alone...
Just how did you break your foot?
Unfortunately, it was up at the Scenic Hotel and it was just a birthday party.
Nothing to do with the performance.
So there's no good...
Isn't that frustrating?
There's no good story. I was very upset.
No, nearly everybody I know that's
They're
had
like
an
the
injury.
stilts, the unicycle.
Yes, exactly.
You know, some acrobatics, something dangerous. No, doing nothing. It's just an accident of the venue and it was dark. And unfortunately, it was really sad because all these dangerous things that I've done in my life, and I never hurt myself.
Yeah. Well, see, that's good training though, isn't it? Let's be honest. If you really know what you're doing, you know how not to hurt yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember I used to stand on someone's shoulders and then you would juggle and then you would pass the clubs to someone else on the other side who was also standing on the shoulders, and you were passing and your support person would support you, you would feel safe. I mean, it's, you know, it doesn't feel super comfortable, but you get...
No, you're aware of what
but
you're
you
doing.
get into it.
Yeah, of course. But that's the performer. You know, that's the performer, forgetting everything around them and just concentrating on what they're doing.
So
what advice would you give to somebody who has seen jugglers, unicyclists, all of the things that you've done? What advice would you give them if they're young and they want to develop?
Well, you just have to start getting into a class or a club or a school and start doing something regularly.
Well, there are a couple of schools here in South Australia that you can go to.
There are quite a few.
And I'm sure there are in Victoria the same. It's just...
But being regular and being consistent. And
practicing.
It starts with training.
And practicing.
Yep, training and practicing.
When you first started, can you remember back how long it took for you to be, or how many hours you spent to actually master these skills?
I mean, I think this is a really good one, because with the unicycle, people say, oh, I want to do that. And then I tell them how to go about it. And then they usually go, But I usually say, if you want to do a unicycle, you need to do 30 minutes a day for 5 days a week for 6 months. That's a good start. And then...
It's a good start.
It's a good start. And then maybe after 6 months, you're ready to perform. And if you're not ready to perform, then you need to do the same routine for a year.
So literally, could anybody master that really, if they put in that time?
You really have to want it.
Yes, I know. I know.
You have to want it.
I know, because I've tried.
So some people do try and then they give up and they go, oh, it's too
hard.
It's too hard. I don't want to do it. And I totally understand that.
But see, I've known performers that have literally ridden unicycles rather than walk wherever they've gone.
Yep.
So they've been on that saddle for hours a day
Yep.
and literally ridden from their home into the city or to a job or whatever, then you realise, well, your muscles have been strengthened enough.
And your core's good?
Yep, your core's good and your sense of balance because you've got a good core, because you've done that properly.
Yep.
It's the same with any skill though, isn't it, really? It doesn't matter. What about your sewing? Do you still sew?
I now pay people. I pay people or contract people.
Oh, to sew what, your designs?
Yes, because I don't have time.
Because?
Because I have too many skills and I do too many things. So when I came back from overseas, which was probably about 9 years, I sort of almost stopped sewing. I said I would do things, and then the fabric's sitting there for 2 years and I have done nothing.
You'll go back to it though. You will. I mean, I'm old enough now to know that I've gone back to a lot of the things I did when I was younger.
I had, like, for the puppet set, I was sewing some of the little curtains, and so if I have to do it, I would do it. But I'm learning to realise that we don't have to do everything.
No, that's true. And finding the time to do it, and you've got a young son who's not necessarily picking up your things. Have you taught him to ride a unicycle yet?
No, he doesn't want to do that.
Because Mum does it.
He's kind of strong and strong-minded. He's only going to do what he wants to do.
He'd only be your son then, wouldn't he?
He's into the basketball. I mean, he picked up the stilts like in one go. I was like, oh, you're really good at that. So we've got some jumping stilts. So he's probably going to do that, but he's not going to be. I thought he would have been the best acrobat because he's fearless, and heights is not a problem.
But he's only 10 or something, isn't he? So
11.
11. So
he doesn't want to do.
But all these things.
He doesn't want to do acrobatics.
Yeah, well, you never know.
He's into basketball. He's amazing at soccer.
Well, the skills are not that unrelated in many ways when you think about it. But we'll be back in a minute because I want to ask Jess what she really wants to be when she grows up. We've been chatting with Jessica Pearce about her extraordinary career as a costumier, I suppose, a juggling ball maker, a performer of all those amazing skills of everything from riding unicycles, walking on stilts, acrobatics, everything that generally people associate with circus, I suppose, isn't it?
That's correct, yes.
But circus means a circle, doesn't it?
Yes.
So you've been very circular in your life.
That's really...
So, before the break, I posed the question, Miss Jessica Pearce, what would you like to be when you grow up?
I want to be the continuation of me and continue colour and entertainment and puppets and working with the community and...
Well, that's one of the things that we haven't talked about, the fact that you have worked with community literally all over the country and literally all around the world as well, but you've gone out to a lot of the country towns that would never get an opportunity to see someone doing what you do, but also to train kids in schools and things. And that's really what you're doing a lot of at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, yes, I love going out to country and working with the community. It gives me a lot and it makes me a better artist and it allows me to understand my own country much better as well.
Well, if people want to find you, you can actually find you quite easily by Googling Jessica Pearce on Facebook, which I did and was amazed with what I saw, even though I've known you for so long. I couldn't believe the places you've been and what you've done in your life. Congratulations for a well-lived life. And the one thing that we never really get a chance to know is how many people you've made to feel happy with what you've shown them. Because apart from the funny, clowny stuff, it's also the amazement of, and we were talking before about, it's usually a male-dominated area, but you've actually turned it right on its head and you've done everything the boys would have done and a lot more, in fact.
And then that allows young people to see you can be a clown, you can be a stilt walker, You can teach circus. So it allows the young people, children and teenagers, to see, oh, I could do that.
And also to amaze their contemporaries or their peers with what they're capable of doing. I love talking to people like you because it's inspiring to say, you know, there's so much we can do in life apart from living a life, cooking, eating, cleaning, doing all the regular stuff and bringing up a child as well. Jess, thanks so much for being part of Our Time.
Thank you, Malcolm.
And so until next time on Our Time, keep yourself nice till then. Bye.